of how I became an engineer. And so today I am an engineer and I work for Intel, as Coach Anna mentioned. And one of the main things that Intel does is that it develops computer chips for different types of computers. And as you can see here, I'm showing a few different types of computers. Um, Everything from this one that is a screen that kind of folds over to your more traditional laptop to a computer that has a keyboard and then it folds over. So lots of different options. And as you know, especially with the pandemic and everything, computers have become really important as a way for us to be able to connect with each other and do all sorts of different things. And this picture on the left is actually a picture of one of the computer chips that Intel released last year and is actually used to power some of the different laptops. And so what I love about this is one of the chips I actually got a chance to work on. So it's really exciting for me as an engineer to see some of the things I've got to work on go into different products that people can buy, and it can make a difference in their lives. So like Coach Anna said, I'm originally from Nigeria. And what I'm showing here is a map of the world. The US is all the way over here on the left-hand side. And then Nigeria is a country in the west side of Africa, which is all the way over here. So that was where I was born, and that's where I'm originally from. One thing I'm really appreciate is the fact that I got to travel a lot when I was younger. And so when I was in early schooling, we actually got to live in Britain, so in the UK. And it was an adjustment moving to a different country, but it was a lot of fun to get to learn new things and just experience a new culture. And I started going to school there. That was where I attended my very first school. And what I loved about it was I was learning all kinds of new things, and I was really curious about how different things worked. I was especially curious about technology and how anything from like how at the time there were VCRs, how VCRs worked. I was curious about how TVs worked as well. And so the picture I show here is a picture of what a TV looked like when I was growing up. And so I was really curious about how it worked. And so one day I actually found a screwdriver and I told my mom that I was going to take the TV apart so that I could figure out how it worked. Um, what was My mom actually convinced me not to take the TV apart. She said, hey, if you take it apart and can't put it back together again, then you won't be able to watch your favorite TV shows. I was pretty convinced I could take apart the TV, but I wasn't sure that I could actually put it back together and work again. And I really didn't want to miss any of my favorite TV shows. So I did not take the TV apart, and I'm glad I didn't. But I really did want to know how it worked, and I was very curious about a lot of different things. And I continued to be curious, and we moved back to Nigeria. My parents were working in Britain, and after their contract was done, we moved back to Nigeria. And I really continued to have a passion and love for learning new things when I was in Nigeria. And so this is a picture of me when I was in grade school. And so the taller girl is my sister, my older sister. I'm the one who's kind of the middle height, and then this is my cousin who's the boy in the picture. And so when I was going to school in Nigeria, we had to wear school uniforms. And so this is us in our school uniform for the school I was attending at the time. But I really loved to learn. I found that I had to put work into learning, but it was very fulfilling and rewarding for me once I put the work in to be able to understand different things. And so it was about this time that people started to ask me, so do you know what you want to do when you grow up? and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I really did enjoy reading and I loved studying, but I didn't know what exactly it was I should do when I grew up. And so I started to really think about it, like, what should I do when I grow up? And there's so many different things you can be. There's so many different careers that you can have, and so many options that you of things you can do that can make a difference. You could be a lawyer, you could be a singer, you could be a teacher or a doctor, you could be a software developer, you could be an engineer, you could be an architect. You could be a decorator. There's so many different things that you can be, and that they're really exciting things that if you're passionate about and you work hard, you can really make a difference. And with all of these options, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. A lot of people would tell me that if like I wanted to choose something that I wanted to do based on what I was good at and what I enjoyed doing. And so I really enjoyed math, and I really enjoyed like my science classes. And I also just kind of wondered, I liked kind of designing things. So I thought, oh, maybe I could be an architect, or maybe I could be an engineer. Since engineers design things, maybe I could be good at that, while architects design and draw buildings. So I thought maybe those could be two options. So those were kind of what I was thinking through of what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so it was around this point that my parents had to move again because of their job. And we moved to another country, and the country we moved to is called Zimbabwe. And so, as you can see, this is a picture of the world again. And Zimbabwe is in Africa, and it's in the southern half of Africa, right over here at the bottom. And so that's where I actually got to go to high school. And it was a change adjusting again to the culture because it's a different country and it's a different culture. And so I was going to school there, and I really started to make a lot of friends and start to enjoy being in a new country and just learning new things and just seeing how different every place I went to was. And it was about this time that I started to think more about what I wanted to be and to decide if I wanted to be an architect or an engineer. And I loved physics a lot, and I really liked my math classes as well. I needed to work hard at them, but it was very rewarding still when I was able to apply myself in those classes. And so that was when I made a decision in high school that I wanted to become an engineer. And specifically, I made the decision that I wanted to become an aerospace engineer. There are lots of different types of engineers. There are electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, aerospace engineers, and aerospace engineers primarily look at they design airplanes or spacecrafts or shuttles, things that have to fly or things that have to go into orbit. That's what aerospace engineers do. And the picture here that I'm showing is a picture of me and my friends in high school. We had to wear school uniforms again in this school, and at this time the school uniforms were blue. So that's me and a bunch of my friends, and I'm over here on the bottom left of the picture. So I decided to go into aerospace engineering, and I really wanted to go to school in the United States. And so I started to apply to a bunch of different schools while I was in high school, a bunch of different colleges while I was in high school. And I got admitted into the University of Arizona to study aerospace engineering. And when I got admitted to the University of Arizona, the specific college was called Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering. And I started to learn more about, once I got into college, it was challenging because I moved to the United States by myself. And so I had to get used to the culture again here. And it was hard because I missed my family as well. But I knew that I really wanted to become an engineer. So I worked really hard to study and to do a good job while I was in college. And it was then that I learned more about the different types of engineering, and that there was, more about mechanical engineering, and the fact that mechanical engineering is one of the broadest types of engineering out there. And I started to wonder, maybe I wanted to be a mechanical engineer instead of an aerospace engineer. So, like I said, aerospace engineers primarily are building like airplanes or designing airplanes or things like satellites or space shuttles and things in that nature. While mechanical engineers really just design anything that has moving parts. And so it can be applied to almost like any area you can think of. And so seeing that mechanical engineering was so broad, I was like, man, I would like to do that. And in fact, if I became a mechanical engineer, if I wanted to, I could decide to, still design airplanes and work on airplanes. And so I changed my major and decided to go into mechanical engineering. And I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of hard work. Like I said, I had to definitely study, and I had to definitely ask for help at different times. But it was great because I got to work on different things. I got to work on a senior design project, and that's the pictures I'm showing here. We actually got to go into a machine shop and build um, and build a prototype for a biomedical company, or a company that was in the town that my college was in. And it was a lot of fun. I got to work with different people in my team. And the pictures you're seeing here is just us in the machine shop working on our prototype and building it. And then on the final day, we actually got to present our work um, to we got to present our work and like showcase what we had actually done. So that was a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed my undergraduate, and so I decided that I wanted to get a master's and then a PhD as well. And that was a lot. I really did enjoy it. It took a long time and a lot of studying, but it was very rewarding to do. Um, I got to travel to different places and showcase my research that I had done. I did get to do research on different types of materials and how they would how like they could fail, or how a crack could grow in a material, to figure out how to make it strong and prevent it from failing. I actually did also get to work on airplanes and look at different types of materials that airplanes could be built out of, that could be lightweight enough so that the airplane could fly easily, but that was strong enough so that it could carry loads like passengers or luggage and not have any kinds of problems. And so that was something that I really enjoyed getting to do while I was getting my master's and my PhD. It was time. I did have to spend time studying, but it was great, and I thought it was very rewarding. And I now, once I graduated, I started working for the company Intel, like I mentioned. And the first job that I had at Intel was super exciting. I got to work in a factory, and in that factory, I got to figure out how to actually manufacture the different computer chips. And because of the way computer chips are made, and it has to be in a room that's really clean and not have any contamination, we all had to dress in these white jumpsuits, as you're seeing here, with the hoods, and wear goggles. That way it would reduce any kind of contamination. And so this is just a couple of pictures of what I wore when I was in the factory trying to figure out how to manufacture the different types of Intel computer chips. And it was very interesting, and it was a lot of fun. So I did that for my first job at Intel. And today, what I do at Intel is I figure out what's the best way of putting together the different computer chips that Intel has. So you can see these computer chips are actually pretty small. And that's what's used to, like, do all the processing on a computer. And you can see, like, in this picture here on the right, there's a picture of a quarter, and then next to it is a computer chip. And you can see that what the actual chip is pretty small. And so there's a lot of different parts that have to go into it and work correctly. And if you don't put it together correctly, then it may or may not work. So my job as an engineer is to figure out how to put the parts together correctly so that it actually works and it performs correctly. And so I've got to work on a bunch of different types of computer chips that do a lot of different types of things. And it's been really rewarding. And it's been challenging at times, but it's been great. So that's what I do today. And outside of Intel, as Coach Anna mentioned, I volunteer. I love to do a lot of STEM outreach. So this is a couple of pictures. This is a picture at the Boys and Girls Club, doing robotics with them, which has been a lot of fun. This is a picture at one of the high schools here in Chandler, where we did some STEM, where we went to the STEM night and we kind of showcased different types of STEM robotics, etc. And then different things. Again, this is at the Boys and Girls Club, and then doing the FLL robotics, a competition day, and then the kids getting ready for the competition and everything. So that's kind of what I do in my free time when I'm not figuring out how to put computer chips together. So thank you guys so much. I've really enjoyed sharing my STEM journey with you. I'd love to hear if you have any questions for me. Also love to hear if any of you have put any thought into things, like something you want to be when you grow up, if you want to share something like that or ask me any questions.
Thank you so much, Coach Abigail.